Welcome to Realms Revealed, and thank you for joining us in another episode of Middle-earth and its fantasies. In the aftermath of the War of the Ring, one question lingered in the minds of many inhabitants of Middle-earth. What became of the Orcs after the ring was destroyed? Throughout the epic conflict that engulfed the land, Orcs served as the brutal foot soldiers of the Dark Forces, driven by their allegiance to Sauron and their thirst for violence and conquest. But with the downfall of their Dark Master and the destruction of the One Ring, the fate of the Orcs hung in the balance. Would they continue their malevolent ways, or would they seek redemption in the wake of Sauron's defeat? Let's uncover the truth. To answer this question, we must journey back to the genesis of the Orcs, to the dark days when Melkor, the original Dark Lord, sought to pervert and corrupt the elves to serve his own malevolent ends. From their twisted origins in the depths of Utumno, the Orcs emerged as twisted parodies of their elven kin, driven by a primal urge to serve their dark masters and wreak havoc upon the world. Throughout the War of the Ring, the Orcs played a significant role in driving the machine of war, spreading fear and devastation wherever they went. From their strongholds in Dol Guldur, Moria, and Mordor, they launched relentless assaults against the free peoples of Middle-earth, seeking to crush all who stood in their path. But with the destruction of the One Ring and the defeat of Sauron, the power of the Orcs was broken, their dominion shattered, and their future uncertain. Some chose grim fates, driven to despair or madness by the loss of their master and the collapse of their dark emperor. Others sought refuge in hidden corners of Middle-earth, biding their time and plotting their next move. In the rich tapestry of Middle-earth's creation mythos, the origins of the Orcs are deeply intertwined with the ambitions and envy of Melkor, the original Dark Lord. According to Tolkien's legendarium, the Valar, or the powers of the world, were responsible for shaping the world and its inhabitants under the guidance of Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme deity. Among these, Valar was Orome, known as the huntsman of the Valar, who discovered the elves awakening under the stars by Cuiviénen, the waters of awakening. However, even amidst the splendor of creation, darkness lurked in the heart of Melkor, the mightiest of the Ainur and Eru's most gifted lieutenant. Consumed by envy and a desire to dominate, Melkor harbored a deep resentment towards Eru's other creations, particularly the Elves. Unable to create a life himself, Melkor sought to pervert and corrupt the works of his fellow Valar, twisting them to serve his own malevolent ends. In his quest to subvert Eru's design, Melkor devised a sinister plan to corrupt the Elves, the firstborn children of Ilúvatar. Venturing forth from the blessed realm of Valinor, where the Valar resided, Melkor's minions snared any elves who strayed too far from the protection of their kin and brought them to his dark fortress of Utumno. Here, within the foul depths of Utumno, the captured elves underwent a harrowing transformation, their very essence twisted and bent to the will of the Dark Lord. The process of corruption wrought upon the captured elves was profound and irreversible. Under Melkor's influence, the fair and noble beings that once walked beneath the stars emerged as grotesque and malevolent creatures, the Orcs. Devoid of the grace and beauty inherent to the elves, the Orcs became twisted manifestations of their former selves, bearing little resemblance to the beings they once were. One might wonder whether the Orcs retained any shred of their elven heritage, or if they were wholly corrupted by Melkor's influence. Tolkien's writings suggest that while the Orcs were indeed born from the corrupted essence of elves, they were fundamentally different beings, both physically and spiritually. Unlike the elves, who were blessed with enduring lifespans and a connection to the divine, the Orcs were diminished in stature and bore notably shortened lifespans. Additionally, their nature was inherently evil, driven by a primal urge to serve their dark masters and wreak havoc upon the world. Thus, the genesis of the Orcs stands as a testament to the corruption and perversion wrought by Melkor's envy and malice. Born from the twisted essence of the elves, the Orcs emerged as twisted parodies of their former selves, destined to serve as foot soldiers in the armies of darkness throughout the ages to come. The War of the Ring, the climactic conflict that engulfed Middle-earth in turmoil, marked a pivotal moment in the history of the Orcs. As foot soldiers of the dark forces under the command of Sauron, the Orcs played a significant role in driving the machine of war and spreading fear and devastation across the land. From their strongholds in Dol Guldur, Moria, and Mordor, the Orcs launched relentless assaults against the free peoples of Middle-earth. Their numbers were vast, their weapons crude but effective, and their allegiance to Sauron unwavering. Throughout the war, the Orcs proved themselves to be formidable adversaries, capable of enduring great hardship and inflicting significant casualties upon their enemies. Yet for all their ferocity and tenacity, the Orcs were not invincible. In battles such as the defense of Helm's Deep, the siege of Minas Tirith, and the confrontation at the Black Gate, the forces of darkness suffered significant setbacks at the hands of the combined might of elves, men, and dwarves. Despite their best efforts, the Orcs were unable to overcome the determined resistance of their foes, and many paid the ultimate price for their allegiance to Sauron. The clashes between the Orcs and the free peoples of Middle-earth were fierce and bloody, leaving scars upon the land that would endure for generations to come. In the depths of Moria, the Orcs clashed with the Fellowship of the Ring, resulting in the death of Gandalf the Grey and the awakening of Durin's Bane, the Balrog of Morgoth. In the fields of Pelennor, the Orcs fought alongside trolls, Nazgul, and other foul creatures in a desperate bid to breach the defences of Minas Tirith. Despite their defeats and setbacks, the Orcs remained a potent threat throughout the war, their numbers seemingly endless and their resolve unshaken. In the dark recesses of Mordor, they toiled ceaselessly in the forges of Mount Doom, crafting weapons and armor for Sauron's armies and fueling the fires of war with their malice and hatred. Yet, as the tide of battle turned against them and the power of Sauron waned, the Orcs found themselves facing defeat on all fronts. In the final confrontation at the Black Gate, the forces of darkness were vanquished and Sauron's reign of terror came to an end. With the destruction of the One Ring and the downfall of their Dark Master, the fate of the Orcs hung in the balance, their future uncertain as the Age of Men dawned. In the aftermath of the war, some Orcs chose grim fates, driven to despair or madness by the loss of their master and the collapse of their dark empire. Others, however, sought refuge in hidden corners of Middle-earth, fleeing into obscurity as the dominion of Sauron crumbled around them. Though the War of the Ring had ended, the legacy of the Orcs lived on, their presence lingering like a shadow upon the land. With the destruction of the One Ring and the defeat of Sauron, the fate of the Orcs in Middle-earth entered a new chapter. The once mighty armies of darkness lay scattered and broken, their dominion shattered and their power waning. In the wake of Sauron's downfall, the Orcs faced a moment of reckoning, their future uncertain as the forces of good emerged victorious. For some Orcs, the end of Sauron's reign brought despair and hopelessness. Cut off from their dark master and stripped of their purpose, these Orcs found themselves adrift in a world that had suddenly become alien and hostile. Bereft of leadership and direction, they wandered aimlessly, their once fierce spirits broken by the weight of defeat. Others, however, sought refuge in the shadows, retreating into hidden corners of Middle-earth, where they could lick their wounds and plot their next move. These resilient survivors, driven by a primal instinct for survival, bided their time, waiting for an opportunity to rise again and reclaim their lost glory. A poignant glimpse into the psyche of the Orcs is revealed through dialogue, indicating a yearning for freedom from perpetual war and a desire to settle in realms beyond Sauron's dominion. In conversations between Orcs, such as Gorbag and Shagrak, Hints of a longing for a life beyond the constant struggle and bloodshed emerge, suggesting that even creatures born of darkness may harbor dreams of a better existence. However, amidst the chaos and uncertainty that followed Sauron's downfall, the fate of the Orcs remained a subject of speculation and debate. While some believed that they would simply fade into obscurity, others feared that they would continue to pose a threat to the peace and stability of Middle-earth, their thirst for vengeance driving them to acts of violence and terror. In the pages of Tolkien's works, the ultimate fate of the Orcs is left ambiguous, their destiny shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. While some may have found redemption or sought to live peaceful lives, others likely continued to embrace the darkness that had always been their home, perpetuating a cycle of violence and destruction that would echo through the ages. Yet, despite their capacity for evil, Tolkien's writings suggest that even the darkest of beings may possess a glimmer of goodness within them. In his letters, Tolkien contemplated the nature of Orcs and their potential for redemption, suggesting that even creatures born of sin and corruption could find their place in the ultimately good world created by Eru Ilúvatar. In the end, the fate of the Orcs in Middle-earth remains a subject of speculation and debate, their legacy a testament to the enduring struggle between light and darkness. Whether they found redemption or embraced their darker nature, the Orcs left an indelible mark upon the history of Middle-earth, their presence a reminder of the complex and multifaceted nature of Tolkien's world. Tolkien's writings provide insights into the nature of Orcs and their potential for redemption. While he contemplated the capacity for goodness within Orcs, suggesting that even they could become part of the ultimately good world created by Eru Ilúvatar, Tolkien also acknowledged their inherent evil and the likelihood of their eventual extinction. In his letters, Tolkien grappled with the question of whether Orcs could find redemption or if they were irredeemably evil. While he acknowledged that Orcs were naturally predisposed towards evil and violence, he also suggested that they were not entirely beyond redemption. Tolkien's writings suggest that even the darkest of beings may possess a glimmer of goodness within them, and that redemption is possible for those who seek it. However, Tolkien also acknowledged the inherent evil of Orcs and the likelihood of their eventual extinction. In his sequel outline for The New Shadow, Tolkien omitted Orcs entirely, suggesting that he did not envision a lasting existence for them in Middle-earth's future narrative. This omission provides a compelling clue to Tolkien's intentions, suggesting that he saw the Orcs as a transient presence in Middle-earth, destined to fade into obscurity as the Age of Men dawned. Ultimately, Tolkien's perspective on Orcs reflects his broader themes of redemption and the struggle between good and evil. While he acknowledged the darkness within them, he also held out hope for their potential redemption, suggesting that even the darkest of beings may find their place in the ultimately good world created by Eru Ilúvatar. The fate of the Orcs in Middle-earth remains shrouded in mystery and speculation. Whether they continued their malevolent ways or sought redemption in the wake of Sauron's downfall, the Orcs left an indelible mark upon the history of Middle-earth. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring struggle between light and darkness and the complexities of Tolkien's richly imagined world. As the Age of Men dawned and the realms of Middle-earth thrived, the Orcs faded into obscurity, their presence a haunting echo of a bygone era. Yet their story endures, a testament to the enduring power of Tolkien's mythos. Thank you for accompanying us on this quest to uncover the fate of the Orcs after the destruction of the One Ring. If you found this exploration thought-provoking, don't hesitate to show your support by liking and sharing this article with your fellow travelers. Stay tuned for our upcoming dives into the depths of Middle-earth's lore, where we will illuminate the mysteries surrounding the Maya, the Istari, the Balrogs, and more. Your curiosity fuels our journey, and we eagerly anticipate our next encounter on Realms Revealed. Until then, may the winds of Middle-earth guide your steps, and may the light of Erendil illuminate your path.